Hey there, everyone. Welcome to week 4 of our conversation and the Great Divide series. I really appreciate you've been tracking with us for about a month now. We've got one more big week to go after this one. And then after that, it's Easter weekend. I'm so looking forward to that. But this week, what we're talking about is how do we respond, especially when objections are really saucy? When the person who brings the objection brings some heat. We shared an objection from the late Christopher Hitchens. Sadly, he passed away some time ago due to cancer, I believe, but he had some really intense, really some harsh things to say about our faith. How do we respond to that? It's easy to get derailed by the packaging of the objection. It's easy to get derailed by what we might perceive as unkindness, maybe being insulted, or the other person being rude. I don't really know his heart. I'm leaning towards that maybe that wasn't his intention. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But I know for a fact that he's coming from a position that he sees the content of the Christian faith and what it means to surrender to Jesus as an assault on his freedom. And who doesn't want to be free? And how do you respond when you feel like people are taking something precious away from you? How do you respond if you felt like your freedom was under attack, that you could not be all that you were made to be, all who you intended to be? Most people I know, myself included, get a little saucy in those moments. I think part of being gentle and respectful is not just seeing the way that people might present their objections, but seeing through it and to see what's deep down, what's underneath, to see the person, not just their viewpoint, to see the person, not just the way that they choose to interact with us. And here's the deal. Peter starts off his command that we're supposed to give an answer, that we can explain the reason for the hope that we have, and we do so with gentleness and respect. This isn't a tactic. This isn't a strategy. It's not based on what's going to be most winsome or effective with people, although it is helpful and effective, but that's not what it's about. Peter says this comes from revering Christ as Lord in your hearts. Our disposition to people has nothing to do with their disposition towards us. It has everything to do with our relationship with Jesus, what he has done for us, and we're choosing to respond to him. And so every time we respond to somebody else, regardless of how they respond to us, what dictates and drives our engagement with them is not a response to them so much as it is a response to Jesus. So I want to encourage you to really lean into that. I want to encourage you to really talk about that. How is it that you tend to engage when you feel like you're under attack? And would it be helpful to remember that you're not just responding to the person, although you are. You and I were also responding to Jesus. How can that be helpful? Make that part of your discussion as you circle up this week. Now, a big chunk of the message that I gave was not only to believers on why we should respond the way that we do, but how do we respond to this particular objection? And a chunk of what I gave in the message is an expression of something that's called the moral argument. In your small group leaders' email and resources that we give them, I included an additional resource, a video on the moral argument that's put together by reasonablefaith.org. If you guys have time, maybe you want to watch that together and discuss it. It's an incredibly helpful resource, and it might be something that you want to use when you're sharing with people who you care about. It might even be a resource that you want to share on your social media and share with others as you're trying to help them process the reasonableness of the faith and the hope that we have in Jesus. Again, it's my hope to be encouraging and to helpful to you guys. I really want to encourage you, spend a lot of time as you're circled up talking together about how it is to be gentle and respectful, how it is that we are gentle and respectful, not primarily because of the other person, but because of Jesus. And when we are, here's the deal, when we are gentle and respectful, we're living out the essence of love, which is primarily about wanting for the other person, not wanting from the other person. And when we remember that we want for them, man, we are well positioned and we are ready to respond with gentleness and respect. Have a great conversation. We'll see you next week.